Hello everyone and welcome to the final part of the Northag DLC preview as we're gonna go over the single player content, and that is quite plenty. We have 2 new Armor General campaigns and we have 4 new operations, which are all really good operations. The Army General campaign is what we're gonna go over first. That part of the DLC, in my eyes, not quite as good as the other parts, the 10 new divisions that are all quite interesting. Not super strong, but quite interesting. And the 4 operations that I think the best single player content Eugen has developed since Normandy 44, maybe even longer than that. So we're gonna. And 4 Days to the Wazer is a pretty sizable campaign. You have 24 turns, and both sides get a quite big amount of units. You get American and a lot of Dutch and some German forces. Obviously, the first line is all Germans, then Dutch, a couple of Americans, and then more Dutch divisions on NATO side and on Pact side that need to get to break through here south of Hamburg all the way to Bremen. And you get a good couple of Soviets here with the T-64 of Northag, and then a lot of East Germans, including a couple of reserve mod Schützen divisions that get T-55s and partially even T-54s here. And then later on, you get 9th Panzer in here as well, including some T-62 M1s and even, I believe, some T-62 S's in some of these formations, if I remember correctly. They were here as well. They might have been in this one. They were somewhere. There were T-72 S's here as well. Yeah, there we go. 1 battalion of T-72 S's here for the southern push, plus 19th Mod Schützen, which is a pretty standard Mod Schützen division. Air forces here on both sides, pretty standard stuff as well. Su-22s here. You get some Polish potentially as an option here, but just air forces and a couple of extra ground forces. But the choices on both sides are somewhat limited. You only get 2 choices on each side, so there's that. And yep, this is this Army General. It's a pretty standard. You push through, try to capture points, and get victory points based on how long you hold them. And the Germans get them on how long they hold the pact back. If you get to Bremen, that is obviously a victory condition. So yep, with the 20 points, that swings it heavily and all. So there is that as well. Bremen is not allowed to fall. The rest you can give up slowly as NATO. Pretty fun for for games most likely, but a pretty standard Army General nonetheless. And then the second Army General campaign is Armored Fury. This one is around the plains east of Hanover, with a little bit of the leftover push in the first couple of turns, usually between of the Warsaw Pact, and then you have a back and forth here between Sande and Peine, Burgdorf and Uelze, and Hildesheim and Halle here in the south. So that one is a real one as well. You have a good mix of German and British forces here for NATO. It's a lot of tank formations, as you would expect in Armored Fury. A lot of chieftain formation here, and then a lot of Soviets on the other side here, with the potential for some Polish forces here as well, though none on the base deployment at the beginning and none in the standard reinforcements here as well. Only through choices you get access to the Polish. So, and the Polish a bit underrepresented in the campaigns for sure, for them being a new nation. And yeah, a couple of Belgian forces here, I believe, showing up on the other side as well. So these are the 2 new Armor Generals. This one here really being a super grindy one, but only 12 turns. That makes it nice to play with friends, I think. This is one is a really good for multiplayer. Decent for single player, but it's a lot of similar tank fights here. And yeah, if you like that, this one is the one for you. But let's get to the good part, to the really good part of the DLC, and those are the operations. And in the operations part, we start with running the Gauntlet, which is about the Dutch trying to rescue some Germans, whilst we have Soviet and Polish forces in their way. And for that, you will have to push with the Dutch through to the Germans. And once you cleared up this road, then there will be reinforcements, or like there will be a convoy going down this road that you then have to protect. you for the first part get a couple of light forces, and then together with some American helicopters helping you out, and later on you get some Leo 2s in low numbers as well to protect the road once you clear out Bravo. Points you get at the beginning, and then for each lock and all optional objectives you get a couple more points as well, but you don't get a tick per minute, so in the last part, you really have to work with limited resources against the units pushing into you. So yeah, a really nice little mission with a classic RTS design of protecting units on a convoy with a nice extra in front as well. The second operation is Wing to Zars, which is played with the Polish forces, and you have a couple of T-72s. And all of these have really nice intro videos as well, which are better than the original operations intros videos and so on as well. Really well done by Eugen with some nice original footage from the time, plus some nice in-game footage that is modified a bit as well. And yeah, in this one, you first have to break through to your friendly units over here. So it's kind of like the Gauntlet one in the first part as well. And the Winged Zars have to dodge a good couple of British units, airborne forces, and a couple of assistant armored forces here in this area as well that have broken through from here. And then once you have recreated the connection and have gotten the order through, you can then push on here and clear this area up. So it has a follow-up part as well where you have more units, but at the beginning you start with your small unit trying to reach this area, which is a pretty nice little start as well, and a really nice and chill little one as well. The third mission is Marauders, in which you control the British paratroopers and Belgian paratroopers of the MNET, and potentially some German ones as well, as this one is a mission with a decent amount of optional objectives that you don't need for the victory, but that can potentially make it easier, though also lead you to overstretch yourself. As the key part is defending for as long as possible around Charlie. If you hold Charlie for long enough and get the points, you win. And to make that easier, you can go up here, link up with these forces, then you get them under direct control, both in these sectors, and maybe even clean out Bravo. If you do that, you get a couple of extra points and access to the otherwise grayed out and unavailable German forces that you then can use to defend around here as well. So that is a nice option as well. And this one really has a decent amount of approaches. I have played it a couple of times now. One where I did all three things, one where I just stayed over here, and one where I ignored the Germans and just went for this part. And it played pretty differently every single time. So this one also has a decent amount of replayability. And it has a really, really great intro video as well. I think that's the best of the intro videos, so job well done there. And it feels pretty authentic as well in how it plays out and so on. So I liked this one quite a bit as well. But the last one is the best one, so let's get to that one. As the last mission is Survivors, in which you have to try to break through back to your lines, and you have a lot of possible paths you can take here on this map, and a lot of couple extra things that you can achieve. You can either try to link up as many units as possible and try it that way. You can just maybe try to sneak through the middle and go directly. There's a couple of scripted scenarios as well, which I don't want to spoil. But yeah, you could go for the Belgians over here, or for more British Commando airborne forces over here on the right side, and try to achieve success with these kind of units. You can try to scavenge for more supplies. The new supply feature, by the way, really helpful for this one. Otherwise, you would waste a lot of your supply for fuel. And yeah, you can try to scavenge for units with supplies around here as well, as there are a couple of supply trucks on the map that are all around the place that you can try to capture and so on. So this one is a really, really cool one as well. And my favorite one of them all. It can take quite a long time. It took me over an hour to finish it in my first attempt, and I haven't succeeded in the second attempt yet on the hardest difficulty, because the hardest difficulty really amps it up as well. So that's good about these operations as well. On hard, they are all really difficult, whilst on medium, they're already a good challenge, and on light, they are decent for newer players as well, but still an okay challenge as well for everybody coming into the game. So yeah, what you would expect out of a DLC, and that is quite nice about this single player content as well, that it is actually a challenge for veteran players as well, which is what you would expect out of a DLC, as I said before. So yeah, this is the single player content. I believe these 4 operations are the finest stuff Eugen has put out since the Steel Division Normandy 44 campaigns, and that is real nice. I look forward to what they can do in Southag and so on. I hope Army General gets a couple of improvements, because I think the mode has so much potential, and it's like 80% there. So if we can get the last couple new features and things to interact with into that stuff, I think Army General will be a masterpiece as well. But we are not there yet, Eugen, so please improve on Army General with Southag. And yeah, see you all there, guys. Thanks for watching.